Hi, welcome to Fight Editor, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from MMA world, not beyond.
You gotta somehow go MMA world and deep into the MMA world.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll figure something out, man.
There you go.
I'm your host, Lexi. Joining me as always, Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Ass Kicking. We're afraid to get ass kicked for asking. And top 3, number 1 or 3 or 5, depending on the list.
It's like bingo, man. We got them all now. You know.
For Oxbow's Thin Black Duke. Now, Eugene.
Yes, sir. My most fun thing now is to find the negative reviews. There's one guy in Italy, one guy who gave the record like a 4.7, and I couldn't figure out what the hell he was saying.
Out
for
of
the rest
what?
Of it.
10?
Out of 10. Out of 10.
Shit.
And then there was somebody who derided our performance as Eugene is flabby and fat. And you're like, that got me. That got me to drop 20 pounds. I'm easily manipulated.
So, speaking of manipulation, Eugene, you're the UFC. Because I don't say Endeavor. You know why? Because the way in which they treat the UFC, they don't give a fuck about it. So why should we front and act as if they're doing anything with regard to that property?
They endeavor to do other things with their time.
So you're the UFC. How do you handle Jimmy Rivera's looking for a fight that nobody will accept at UFC 219?
I hate to be a nattering. Well, actually, I don't hate it. Who's going to believe it if I say it? A nattering nabob of negativity. But I think at early stages, I was willing to say that I was being an alarmist, that I was. The reality of it is we're going through like a really fundamental kind of sea change. And I'm not going to, like the little Dutch boy, make the claim that it's all going to be washed away. But we're in for some pretty significant realignments if the sport is going to continue to exist in the manner in which we've known it to exist, and believe some of us that where it was going to exist. This whole kind of, people are not enamored. It's just not the way the American, or how about this, the Western psyche works. We're not enamored necessarily of the fights, man. We're enamored of the fighters, and they're the worst treated people in your fucking organization. So, this is a tip of a much more gooned out iceberg, the Jimmy Rivera situation. I mean, this is deep and this is wide and it's systemic, and you're not going to teach these old dogs new tricks, specifically that these guys deserve a fair shake, because like any other corporation, when they discover that people will do it for less, that's what they focus on. So, rather than, like I said a long time ago, artist development, fighter development, creating like we thought Endeavor was going to do when they first came in, because they know about this stuff. We're going to use it as a laboratory for the creation of sports stars. They have done the exact fucking opposite. They have ground everybody into the ground, and now they have a work sick out that is fucking epic. It's so epic that they don't even know it. It's like that great scene from one of those space movies, which is name I can't remember, and they go, "Look at that mountain." The one where Matthew McConaughey disappears into the bookcase, whatever the fuck that was, and my kids were all crying and crying their eyes out when they saw it. It's like, man, this is not a feel good movie. That's not a mountain. That's a wave. That's where we are now. It seems pretty innocuous, a guy not being able to find a fight, but this is we are witnessing a sick organization, man. You just like coming along a sick animal on the road. What do you do with it? You nurse it back to health, or do you shoot it? And what does shooting it in this instance mean? I don't really know, but I think it's a dark and dangerous time for those who desire to be interested in a sport that has some sort of value.
Damn. Or, you could hope that, it is dead, and if you're into roadkill, you could feast on the carcass.
Well, there's an opportunity here, right? And I mean, is Scott Coker going to fill that opportunity? Probably not. Is KSW? I mean, probably not, because they're using the same alphabet. And this is where the prospect of a Mayweather coming in really is a significant development. I mean, it's kind of like thinking that Trump was going to be president. You never thought he was going to be smart enough to pull it off. If Mayweather, you would have figured he's going to be savvy enough to get any purchase in MMA. However, he knows about paying fighters, having been a fighter.
That's foreshadowing, Eugene.
You're jumping the questions, Eugene.
Without even having seen them. This is where we are, baby.
I mean, he emailed you the questions, but we knew you didn't look at them. But I
got 1,400 emails I'm trying to get through. I got them down to 517. That's what I've been doing for the past 2 hours.
So about you, Nate, if you are the UFC, what do you do with this?
Well, I mean, they're doing what they're doing, which is cutting down the number of fights on the card. And the question is which not pay-per-view worthy fight is going to get moved up to pay-per-view, and how do you balance it? It's not pretty. This is supposed to be, historically, this has been one of the big stacked cards of the year. I mean, I remember, you know, back in the day, some big-ass fights. I think Rampage and Forrest Griffin fought for the title right before the new year, these many years ago. And I don't know, I was reading the whole back and forth about the Rivera thing. I mean, of course you book Dominic Cruz in a fight, you know there's a high chance that he's not going to show because of injuries, just because the guy's Mr. Glass from that M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Shyamalama Ding Dong.
Shyamalama Ding Dong. And yeah, and then you know, you try to get more A's, but you don't, you know, money talks, bullshit walks, and they're not throwing the money out there. They need people to take fights on short notice. And I think that was the thing with the Fertittas. As much as they put the squeeze on people, when they needed something, they dropped some dimes, you know, and when they wanted to make a show of rewarding somebody, they made a big bonus payout and let everybody know it. And the Endeavor guys don't seem to either they don't get that kind of Machiavellian stuff, or they don't care. But they're doing everything wrote by the book, and it ain't working. And, you know, they're the monkey in front of the vending machine dancing around waiting for the cocaine to fall out, and the hits are not coming. So, I mean, what they're going to do is give us a shitty fight. Jimmy Rivera's not going to fight on the card. And then they stumble into 2018 looking like jackasses, and with fewer options to sell the UFC TV rights to.
I'll buy them.
I don't know.
Yeah, me too.
Him?
Yeah.
We got some investors together.
Yeah, I got some stuff on the couch here. I got some change. It looks like I'm clear.
I'll go up to Colorado, get some of that legal weed, hook them up.
Man, so on that positive question of how to reinvigorate Nate, your Floyd Mayweather. Are there any circumstances under which you would fight in the UFC live and in public view in wake of the rumors involving your name?
Well, the rumors that Floyd himself started, which was just to show how many options he had theoretically. And then he lets Dana White go out there and start talking it up, and then just yanks the rug right out from under him. I think that's all that was just a you know, chain yanking exercise on Floyd's part, because the number one thing, the overweening sin of Floyd Mayweather is pride and career management. I mean, he's the son of a guy who had all the talent and none of the timing, who fought the wrong guys at the wrong times, and drummed that into his kid's head over and over. Pick your opponents, pick your times. You're the money fighter. You're the money fighter. You're not building somebody else up. Floyd's not going to get into UFC at age 40 with no skills in grappling or takedowns. That's just not – this is a very, very, very proud man. This is a guy who's about to retire, having broken Rocky Marciano's unbeaten record from boxing. He's got plenty of money. He's got mo money, mo problems all day long. Like, the guy does not need a cash infusion at the moment. Maybe in a year or two, if things go badly wrong for him again. But as of this moment, he's just yanking Dana White's chain and having a fine time doing it. He was running his mouth, talking shit, and just seeing what kind of trickle he would get, what kind of reactions he would get. Because at his age, I mean, we've seen boxers get into MMA late in their careers, and none of the boxers look good doing it. And Floyd knows this. Floyd is not going to be the guy. He doesn't need the money, and they don't have the money. So,
man, what do you think, Eugene?
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say, one, that if I had a magical way to irk the bald one every week, I would fucking do it. If I could somehow reliably be counted on to do something that was going to irk him, I mean, that's what I couldn't understand about some of these MMA journalists. You're like, I'm not going to answer any questions from you because I don't like you. Why would you not have hollered out from the peanut gallery, blow me a kiss, please? Why wouldn't you do that? Why? I don't know. What's he going to do? He's going to beat you up? Is that what he's going to do? Oh, Dana, the bald one's going to beat me up. Come on. Secondly, so I understand Mayweather not being able to resist. Secondly, I view this as a Trojan horse. I view this as a Trojan horse, the most significant kind. Like, if you were, say, what were the steps that you would take if you were legitimately going to fight MMA? Well, you would ally yourself with a team. Which team would you ally yourself with? The best team. The best team that what qualifies a best team? Best fighters, best coaches, most wins. You get in that team, maybe you show up at the gym, you skip some rope, teach you guys a few things about boxing. You say, hey, how are your deals with the UFC? You guys being treated all right there, you think? It's funny, man. If you had been boxing, all you guys would have been like McNuggets. All of you. It just is mind-blowing to me that you can't get that kind of you know what? Why don't you I have some experience with this. Why don't you let me talk to folks? Let me see what I can come up with. That's it. The bald one's off yapping about, oh, he's gonna go MMA, and people thinking about, oh, McNuggets is gonna fight him in the octagon. Nah, I don't think that's a play, man. I don't think that's a play at all. I think he knows he's 2 steps ahead of the game. I think he knows what we all know. Boxing is a lost leader, man. I think that like I said years ago, MMA will succeed and do well and continue to do well. Why? Because it is a combat sport that is a combat sport in which white guys gain purchase. Right? I said it. I said it. I said it a long time ago. People go, oh, you're crazy. That's not why. I go, well, if you could start wrestling at the age of 6, and by the time you're 18 or 19 or 20, got a solid wrestling background under you, maybe take a few jiu-jitsu lessons. You don't have to be a great boxer, but you could be a great fighter. And we've seen that time and time again. We can see guys come out of college, great fighters. I got a guy on my team who wrestled with Mark Coleman, and he's a great jiu-jitsu player. So I think that I think you'd be a fool not to see that soccer moms are not taking their kids to do boxing. The growth delta is connected to MMA. The fundamentals are still sound, and it's being horribly mismanaged by the lunatics who run it. It's an opportunity.
Oh, man. And so he's going in to take it over. See, I thought you were going to a place where
I think it's a smarter move than fighting. And he doesn't seem to be like that. He can't read, but all in all, he doesn't seem to be as stupid of a guy when it comes to getting punched in the face. He seems to be
the first
smart.
thing is I thought you were leading, and if folks can rewind it, they'll see. I thought you were going to say a Trojan whore, because you was like, a Trojan whore. I was like, this magical Trojan whore he's talking about. What kind of variation on the story is that? Damn. So
horse are never very far from my mind,
That's number one. And number two, I thought you were leading also with Floyd going in there to disrupt. So like he's going to plant these seeds about, which is confirming what everyone knows, which is the fact that UFC fighters, MMA fighters don't get paid as much as boxers, and then like be out, just fucking with them and being out, but actually take it over. That would be.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you could take the 135 mil that McNuggets got and say, okay, McNuggets would have been happy with a quarter of that. You take the remainder of it and spread it out to some of the guys who are populating the top 5. and you got some guys who are motivated to stay in. You don't have Stipe Miocic showing up for his late shift at the fucking firehouse. You don't have that, you know.
Man, so what do you think about that take, Nate?
Didn't I go first? Isn't it time
You
for a
did.
heel turn? Isn't
Damn,
it
you know what, like,
for a heel
No,
turn?
he's giving you a chance to respond because it was so powerful what I just said that you might want to jump in there.
and it's
The
also
power.
the last question, so I was.
All
you
I
know,
heard
but
Eugene
you
was say
know.
was Nate is right, and then something. And
Naturally,
He's
that's all
ready
you
for the heel
want.
turn, for getting full blown heel, baby. So go on ahead, Nate.
I got to go with Chris Cyborg this week, man. Girl gets 1 week in the spotlight. This is her big time. This is the biggest UFC exposure she's ever gotten. And what is she doing with her time? What is she running her mouth about? Boxing. I want to do boxing. There's no women's boxing where you're going to make more money than you're making in the cage. This woman is the one woman PR disaster. She ever since hiring Tito Ortiz, the whole bit about, oh my God, if I cut down, I'll die. Oh, and then the multiple drug test failures and all the crying and boo-hooing and self-pity. And now she's saying, I want to be just like McGregor and fight in boxing. No, you don't want to be. Who would you fight in boxing? Chris Cyborg? Who?
Ronda Rousey.
Nobody. There's no women's. What? Muhammad Ali's daughter is going to come back to the field and
40-year-old Lila Ali.
Yeah, there's nobody out there that you could fight for more money than you're making fighting Holly Holm. Talk about the fucking fight you're having right now. I mean, it's not like I think she's looking past Holly Holm and that's a problem. I mean, I think the only problem she's going to have with Holly Holm is how long she's going to carry her. I mean, I think she can smash Holly Holm at will. I don't know what to do with Chris Cyborg. She seems like a sweet girl. She really does seem like a nice person.
She's a really nice person.
But she has no PR acumen whatsoever.
Oh, okay, all right. You see she did the package. Have you watched the extended package?
I did.
And
I've not looked at her package.
Did you see the bald-headed presence of a Mr. Oito Tortiz? You see him? Or whatever his name is this week. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That should tell you all you need to know.
It does. It tells you, I mean, yeah. Stupid son of stupid is the stupid.
But it's weird though
to
talk about the boxing though. That's what's so fascinating to me about that is she's fighting an opponent who was a boxing champion. So it's not as if she's that Holly Holm is known to be this mega rich, super wealthy individual who just cashed in boxing and made all of this money with making championships, different weight classes.
She was a decade-long
and now she's curious. Right, and she's curious about testing her skills outside the boxing arena. So now she's doing it. No, she's as broke as the rest of y'all.
Because she was a boxing champ for a decade and didn't leave Albuquerque the whole friggin' time. I mean, it is not the sport of kings, women's boxing. So, yeah. Chris Cyborg.
Well, I think that maybe she was rattled. Here, I'm going to play a devil's apologist. Maybe she was rattled and was just trying to lay out a scheme up for if she loses this fight. But you're right, it doesn't hold fucking not an even thimble full of water.
If you remember what a
Misty,
Eugene.
Look at that. What is that kind of segue, man? The man is a professional. He got us right there. Misty, as it having to do with wood and piles and the Lost Battalion. Well, look, I've been trying to, depressurize, got a little time off from work, get my head together, relax, spend some time with the family, those kinds of things. But it still keeps floating over the transom. Specifically, a guy who I love, and you have to note why this is important. Cub Swanson. Cub Swanson has said, and I read, I'm down to stand and trade with Floyd Mayweather in the octagon. You see, they talked about Steve Jobs in the reality distortion field, and this whole McNuggets red panty night, $135 million has completely discombobulated the sport. If the bald one hadn't have spent so much time trying to get him to respect his authority, then he would have actually been able to, much like the invasion of Iraq, plan for post victory, and done so in a way that doesn't discombobulate. Nobody's thinking sane. Mayweather's not going to come out and fight Floyd. Mayweather's not going to come out and fight Cub Swanson. He's not going to do it. So why even say it? You think? I mean, the sick out has been effective enough if the Baldwin's noticed, and I don't think he has really. So what are you saying? I have an exit. You know, if I don't get a deal that I like, I have an exit because I could go to boxing too. No, you can't. No, you can't. That's fucking misty as fuck. You cannot. And then even if you did. And what? And what? At this point now, this is like on the waterfront, man. When Lee J. Cobb tries to get the longshoremen to back him up, and they all just kind of, you know, they go D&D, dumb and deaf, and start scratching their heads, and all fundamentally turn their backs. That's what a work sick out is like. I'd like to help you, boss, but I got the shoulder thing. You know, the thing. I thought it was the other shoulder. Oh yeah, that too. So so Cub Swanson putting his name in the ring, non-existent ring for a Floyd Mayweather thing is foolish, but it shows that he's thinking about the stuff that's in the air, but not thinking about it in a sane way. And of course, he's being aided and abetted by guys like Demetrius Mighty Johnson, who is taking pictures and tweeting out stuff of him standing amidst all of his belts, threatening to move up 20 pounds to welcome him to MMA. What the fuck are you guys doing, man? What? It's like you're on some fucking candid camera show, and you know it's a candid camera show, but you fucking lost track of the fact that it's a candid camera show. Stop it. It's frightening. It's frightening the children. Outside of that, the third entry, and it pains me to say this, and I'm not going to say he's an entry. I am going to say that the LB alarm is starting to kind of the proximity alarm. And it's to a friend of Knuckle Up, longtime friend of Knuckle Up. Like I said, I hate to do it, but DC touting the return of Cain Velasquez. Yo, man, just let the dude, let him come back like a lamb, a very, very violent lamb. But don't be making these pronouncements about how he's gonna do that. That's just, you gotta know that that's dangerous. You gotta know. What was that thing that wrestler who tried to sue me was calling it pop-off mess-up man? You can't do that, and that's when that LB alarm starts to go off. So those are my three entries.
Man.
The most damaging one being the Cub Swanson one, because it shows, it's like somebody said, I've taken a bunch of angel dust, and I'm going to go fly a plane. You just know that there's nothing good is going to come out of this. People thinking about 135 mils. Stop it.
Now, if there was a perfect way to end this year of If I Did It and MMA, I think it's that, because that is where we are, is in the shitter. Thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson and Alexio, the kid named at Facebook. MMA Pancholes!
Pancholes!
Please give us a thumbs up. Leave comments on YouTube. Eugene, the thumbs!
The thumbs up, and if you want to get hold of me, Instagram, Mr. Sleep 3, okay?
Subscribe to MMANation.com, YouTube MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Buy Oxbows. Thin Black Duke.
We're the first place. We're the third place. We're the seventh place. We're the 8th place. We're the 10th and 11th place. We're the 31st place. We're the top 40. We're all over the place.
That's right. And immediately following the show, Eugene?
It means immediately. That means like within the next 3 minutes in real time, if you're hearing my voice, we're going to log out. We're going to log back in at If the Shoes Fit. The link is right below. Do not get lost in the transport.
That's right. Until next week, please join us for another edition of If I Did It. We don't know what we're going to talk about because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.